So far, we've seen a myriad of Zenith species covering the far reach that Mesoporta hunters can enjoy. Massive deserts, dense jungles, frigid mountaintops, all with their own ecosystem and monsters to manage. They've fought tooth and nail against elders and their own kind to reach the summit of what their possible species could be. I'm wondering if there's a word for the highest pinnacle possible? Maybe who knows. But that's where we hit our next problem. There's a new group of Zeniths that don't have to worry about competition. They have set themselves up in their own kingdoms, their own nests where they can't be opposed, and have simply grown stronger and stronger. And it's here where we find the extremely concerning isolated species section of our report. These Zeniths, on the rare occasion they do leave their carved out spots of the world, could wreak havoc and ruin on any area unfortunate enough to encounter them. There are elder dragons here that are part of this group, commanding unique elements and even the forces of gravity themselves to lay waste to whatever's in their way. And to fight them, more often than not, you'll be locked into a single room with no chance of retreat. It's a cage match. And we are being sent to fight them today. Uncontested, unrivaled, unparalleled. And the first of these stands in the ruins of a village, amongst a fortress of bamboo. Zenith Inagami, the first Zenith Elder Dragon we're encountering in the series so far. Present in the only map that can hold it, the Bamboo Forest, you'll be contending with not only the beast itself, but also the area. See, much like the much more slender base Inagami, this Zenith channels its power through the magnificent flower bud on its tail, being able to stimulate rapid growth of the surrounding bamboo to spear from beneath. This tail bequeaths Inagami an impressive attack range, with slams and tail whips now enhanced with waves and waves of bamboo being shot out to complement the regular attacks. You're going to have to be aware of not only where the attacks are going, but where they've been, and in some cases, where they're aiming towards if you want to get through these patterns unscathed. Of course, there's an extra wrinkle in the fight design to make sure you're not really going to have an easy time dodging these shoots, and that's the other weapon Zenith Inagami has. Welcome back, Zenith Sleep, or as it will be known, the power to annoy you to death. To recap, Zenith Sleep sends you instantly into an unavoidable sleep for a grand total of 30 seconds, leaving you wide open for any and all follow-ups that come your way. Last time we saw that, with Zenith Hypnocatrice, the bird would immediately blast into a song which was pretty much a guaranteed one-shot. However, this time it's a relatively lesser punishment. If you get slept in the fight and are knocked out of it by a teammate or an attack, bamboo shoots up from you below for an extra bit of chip damage, effectively stun-locking you into a few more extra hits than expected. It's not massive damage, but it'll all add up, especially considering the way that sleep is inflicted on this fight. You see, pretty much every single tail attack is imbued with sleep, meaning that you'll get smacked with a tail slam, fall asleep, get speared by bamboo all in one, and that is the best case scenario. You could get tail whapped, slept, hit with another tail attack, slept, bamboo could hit you, you could land up and get hit into a cloud of sleep, get slept again and on and on and on and on and on until you perish. If ever there was a way to rival the frustration of Zenith Akura, this would be it. You have to really focus and be almost note perfect if you don't want to get lined up for an infinite combo here. Zenith Sleep against Inagami is an evil, abhorrent mechanic that will definitely frustrate you until you get Inagami down note perfect. As we've said before, it's an Elder Dragon, a monster of almost mythical strength that's now been supercharged into the sun with Zenith upgrades. It's not going to be easy, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's, in fact, 2 more mechanics in play throughout the fight that we're going to look at. To begin, there's the simple matter of the tail flowering stages. You can essentially think of the tail flowering as the difference between a normal and enraged mode, signposted with this particular attack. Inagami will often cancel mid-animation to charge the tail and flip with a massive sleep AoE. It's fairly simple to avoid, you just have to roll when the tail reaches the apex of the flip, and make sure that you stay close as the area around it will erupt with bamboo. In this state, the tail is flowering, and any tail sweeps or slams will be buffed with clouds or orbs of sleek projectile, drastically increasing the area of danger for taking a quick nap. This will adjust a couple of attacks down the line, so watch out. I'll be referring to these modes as budding mode and flowering mode respectively later on, so make sure you remember that. The final mechanic is one inherited from the base Inagami, which is the chewing gum armor. In keeping with the main draw of Zenith monsters, multiple part breaks on Zenith Inagami have a large effect on attacks and the performance of the fight. On each limb, the head, and the tail, after being broken, Inagami will coat it in a cauterizing substance, slightly changing the look to be a bit more bulky. Pay attention to which limbs are covered when going for the tail break, as if all 6 are broken, Inagami will stand up and explode. With the same timing as the opening roar, a burst of sleep will erupt around it and it will stagger onto its side for a huge amount of time. It's a massive opening and fairly easy dodged, but you have to stay vigilant for which body parts are cauterized already, otherwise this once per hunt animation will catch you unawares very easily. That's just the way the fight rolls so far, we haven't even touched on attacks. Inagami has a lot of moving parts and is incredibly difficult, so don't let your guard down for even a moment. Speaking personally, this is a Zenith I struggle on immensely. Attacks then, hold on to your butts. First is the front leg slam, easy to avoid, just wait for the rear up to finish before rolling it, and bear in mind the hitbox comes out slightly earlier if you're below him. Nice and simple. The spin claw, however, is a bastard. The spines that come out with this spin attack can be avoided, yes, but the timing is incredibly cruel, even with evasion too. You need to roll intelligently and make sure your iframes end far away from the attack, as the hitbox is very deceptive. Once you scar and cauterize the front legs, these additional spines are completely removed, which should be a pretty high priority. The tail burst attack is another funky interaction, and I'm a big fan of it. If Inagami does a short, flat jump, it'll let out a Zenith tremor and sink its tail into the earth. You'll start seeing the ground split as the tail burrows towards you, and the moment it stops, you need to roll. If you don't, in the budding mode you'll get flung into the air, and in flowering mode it'll instantly send you to sleep. If your weapon has a damaging evade such as sword and shield, dual blades, lance, etc., you can hit the tail during this dodge to cause either a flinch in budding mode or a complete topple if you manage to get a hit during the flowering mode. It's a very good attack to learn and get familiar with for sure. Next up, if Inagami faces away from you, you're about to see the horse kick attack. The Zenith will buck 3 times, sending rocks flying out behind it. It's very simple to avoid, just don't stand in the way. The rock fling gets removed once you scar the back leg, so keep that in mind as Inagami will always do it after a charge, so you can guarantee an opening of some sort. This is just the first level, by the way, I know, it's more moving parts than Wallace and Gromit's house. The final 2 moving parts begin with the 180 tailspin. The tail will slam into the ground and will arc around from your left, before ending in another slam. This attack is especially egregious because the hitbox persists through the entire attack string, meaning the right hand side of Inagami is lethal to beyond, and even if you roll perfectly, or still by the body, you're gonna get flung. The best bet is to roll away from the monster or through the tail if you're on the left hand side, because getting a hit by an attack you clearly rolled hurts. Finally, if you see Inagami tense up like this, be ready to roll a roar. You'll be struck by the follow up tail sweep if you fail to do so, but it's worth noting that being close can allow you to avoid the strike. If you're far away, watch your feet as bamboo will also be sent out as a follow up. No bones about it, Inagami is a tough nut to crack. I'm confident in saying it's probably the hardest Zenith and the one I struggle on the most, and the ever prevalent threat of Zenith sleep bouncing you from tail to bamboo to pillar to post means that a single mistake can be sorely punished. That said, everything has rules here, and understanding the different mechanics means that you can be a lot more prepared to tackle the attacks than a first time hunter. We move on from here to G rank 400, where we see a dramatic change to one attack. This front leg slam goes from a simple one-time dodge to a careful rhythm game. Instead of just the slam, you'll have the slam, a short delay, bamboo shoots out of the ground, then Inagami will grab a stalk and spin with it. If you can delay your attacks accordingly, you'll be able to dodge the bamboo coming up, and if you fully commit to an attack, any damage against Inagami during the bamboo twirl will flinch it out of its animation. Realistically, the main thing that can catch you here is the timing for the bamboo shooting out of the ground. It's a little tricky to get down. Once you get it, it's a fun little dance and it's very rewarding once you achieve it. The worst is yet to come, however. G rank 400 Inagami gets a new move, where it shoots forward and whips its tail twice. This attack is putrid for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's little to no wind up on the initial jump, and it has a hitbox with full knockback. Doesn't do much damage and arguably may set you up better for the follow-up sweeps, but it can be annoying to suddenly get flung away from a random jump. The follow-up tail sweep has some range, and can be dodged fairly easily, but the real threat arises once the tail is open and flowering. In the flowering mode, this is also reinforced with a wave of sleep spreading out from the back of the Zenith, which means if you're stuck behind it, there's only one opening in the wall of sleep projectiles for you to respond to, and it's very easy to get struck and take a nap when you don't want to. It's a real pig of an attack, but you can easily learn the gap afterwards. If you just accept the fact you'll get hit by the jump without having the reaction or guarding time of an upper being, then it hurts a bit less. That's all there is, however, for 400. It's enough of a change to existing attacks that the base level exists as sort of a training mode, and we'll see that with another monster later on. G rank 600 Inagami sees a single change, being this juggle attack. Fun fact, I had to use an item that gives a 70% reduction to damage to actually get the whole of this animation. You get insta-swiped by the tail, juggled into the air, and then it spikes you into the ground. The damage is catastrophic, and you may never see the cool little animation of getting shoved into the dirt, which is an awful shame. Being close helps a lot, since there's no wind-up and the tail can easily pass over you, but also if you do get spiked into the air, having teammates with life powders can also give you some time. This is the section where we talk about if there was anything cool with the armor, and in this lucky case, there was! The skill Point Breakthrough, or PBT. Or, as you'd attack a hit zone, you'd build up a condition, and once you hit the breakpoint, you'd trigger a debuff on that particular hit zone. I love this skill, and I think it's what the tenderizing mechanic of Iceborne's Clutch Claws should have been, promoting aggressive play and turning bad zones into good ones without breaking the flow of a fight is very nice. And now we're at the final hurdle, G rank 800 Inagami. All we get here is one new attack. Inagami will go into an idle stance, looking around the area and staring off into the void. From here, it'll jump into the stratosphere and only jump back down when its shadow reappears. From here, you want to get close to Inagami to dodge the roar and the initial impact, but not the follow-up bamboo. It's another multi-layered attack that you have to adapt to, but it looks sick as hell, so I guess there's that. Inagami jumps, you see the shadow, you get close, you roll, and then roll the follow-up roll. Writing this video out made me sincerely appreciate Zenith Inagami. I respect it in the same way that I respect a firearm in my mouth. It could kill me, but I'd very much like to find a way out of the situation in question. Luckily, said gunman doesn't immediately have the potion of instant narcolepsy, which makes them a little bit better than Zenith Inagami. A painful, brutal fight, as befitting of an Elder Dragon. You need to expect to carve, because it will happen regardless whether you think so or not, and I love it for that, despite all of the shortcomings. Overall, Zenith Inagami is a test of skill for sure. Thanks for watching, Cera out.